Hi guys, it's Emily from Novell Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my Victober TBR 2025 and it is a favourite, probably one of my most favourite videos to film every single year. I get ridiculously excited about Victober. I love it, love it, love it so much. I know I've had a few highs and lows Victober wise. I may do a video about that actually, highs and lows on Victober or something, if that's a video you guys would like. But I love filming about Victober TBR. I get like the 1st of September, no one else's videos gets watched until I've watched all the announcements. I have watched them all. I think I've watched clips of some people. Sorry if I've not watched all of the videos, but I had to kind of prioritise which ones I needed. I've watched all of them to a certain extent and I just commented on some of them, but like because I needed to know prompts and ideas. I will say obviously the hosts are Kate Howe, Katie from Books and Things is obviously. We've got Marissa from Blatantly Bookish. We've got Roz from Scally Dangly about the books. We've got Hannah from Hannah's Books. We've got Elizabeth from Literary Princess. Milena reads. We've got Taking Two Catherines. That's Catherine from that. We've got Dickens and Docs, who's on Instagram, and we've got Roy. And I think that's everyone. Now, like I said, I've watched as many people's videos. I will be linking everyone's channels down below. And please, I am tired with editing. So, and like, you know the description boxes? If you want to know the prompts, go and watch all their videos, because let's be honest, if you're watching this video, you're going to know the prompts. You're going to know, I will be saying them verbally. I don't need to list them in the things, but look them up on all these channels. I will say I am bloody lucky in the fact that Katie from Books and Things and Kate Howe, they both helped me fulfill the prompts, because when I was having questions about other books, because I literally planned this on the day it came out, I may have bought a book for this, and I obviously watched people's videos to see if I can get ideas. I have tried to read off my shelves as much as possible. I only ordered one book for this and one book I was gifted. So apparently they are doing it because there are 10 hosts and there are 10 prompts because celebrating 10 years on BookTube. Apparently you don't have to do all of the prompts. You never have to anyway. If you read one of the host books, then you're taking part of it. If you read any Victorian book, you're taking part. But they've done like a ranking thing, so depending on like how many of the prompts you're matching, depending on what ranking, I think I'm either Jane Eyre or one above it, because I've managed to fit books for 8 of the prompts, although some of them do double up. I just think I'm really happy with this. I love the prompts. I love trying to match books off my shelves. Admittedly, because there's 8 prompts and because I've been doing Victober since I started BookTube, so that's probably about 6 years I've been doing Victober, and I obviously have been reading off my shelves. I now have discovered I need to buy a lot more Victorian books. I need to buy a lot more classic books because I've got through my shelves and I haven't got many spare. So there is a video coming up in October where I'll be talking about my classics for 2026, and I've got 3 Victorian books that will be going on that, and then 3 other classics that will be going on that. So modern day classics and things like that. So that's one video that's coming up in October. I may do an extra 2 vlogs. I may do Victober part 1 and part 2. I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to be gentle on myself, but we will see. Obviously every week on my weekly reading catch up, you'll be seeing how I'm doing in the books. Because I've got 8 books, I'm planning to do 2 every week. And I think I'm going to be splitting up the bigger ones and smaller ones. That's my plan. But we will have to wait and see how I do. I don't want this video to be too long, so I will be going through the prompts and going through what books I've got to match the prompts. Now the group book is Hester by Margaret Oliphant. I am reading that, but I'm reading it for one of the prompts, so I'll go into a bit more detail when we get there. And yes, that is kind of the book that I wanted to buy. I will say, looking at my notes, I've changed the books for these prompts a million flipping times, because when I was going through it, I was trying to work out which ones would fit. So, here we go. Kate's challenge is read a book where friendship is featured. And I am reading Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. It is a reread for me, because obviously it is one of my books that I absolutely loved. It is a reread, and I love Shirley. I'm buddy reading it with Katie from Books and Things. It is talking about friendship, obviously. Now, Shirley I don't want to read too much of the back of the book, because obviously the backs of classics tell you a lot, and I'm going to try not to read too much of it. But actually Shirley, the character in this book, isn't actually in it till about halfway through, but it's mainly about her friend Caroline, so obviously that gives you an idea. It is about friendships. Both struggle with what a woman's role is and what it can be. Their male counterparts, Louis the powerless tutor and Robert, his cloth-making brother, also stand at odds with society's expectations, so this will also match another one of the prompts. The novel is set in a period of social and political ferment. I think it's sort of set, but basically this isn't a favourite of mine on the Brontes, but it's not one of my least favourites. But it is like 482 pages, so it's a longer one. Need to find out with Katie how we're going to read it. I don't know how and when. I need to speak to Katie about when we're doing it in a month. It is one I'm really looking forward to, because I have read it before and I liked it, but I didn't necessarily love it. I think it was because I kept waiting for Shirley to appear, and she doesn't appear straight away. She doesn't appear till halfway through. But obviously it's a Bronte, I know I like it, I can't wait to reread it, so that suits me. Katie's challenge is read a book of Victorian literature that isn't a play, that is not a novel, so i.e. a play, short story, poem or work of non-fiction. If I would have blooming read this, I would have read the book I read for Jane Austen in July, which was a book about Jane Austen that could have matched many of these prompts, but I didn't know that then. So I need to get more sort of either short stories or poems. Actually, I did think, I just realised I might have a book on my shelves that I'm not sure. I may read another poetry one, because I may look at that in the library, but the book I've got that already matches it is 5 Orange Pips and Other Cases by Arthur Conan Doyle. I did read an Arthur Conan Doyle for Victober last year, which is short stories, but I got this and I'm trying to think how many short stories this is. This one may get read over the course of the month, because there's 12 short stories. So I may actually read this over two weeks, because I could read 6 one week and then 6 another week. So I may actually read that over 2 weeks. I'm not entirely sure. But this is short Arthur Conan Doyle, which I love the short stories. If I spread them out a bit, maybe that won't feel like it's too much. Because I only read like a short story a day. So I think in all honesty, I'll probably read it over 2 weeks, this one. I think some of these short stories I've actually read. Some of them I haven't. So it will be quite interesting to go back and try that. But that is my option for that. I will say that there is a short story that Thomas Hardy did, a short story collection, Wessex Tales, which I read one year and I thought that was good, so it will be quite interesting. I am very hit and miss with short stories though, so I don't entirely know how it's going to go. Right, Marissa's challenge is read a work of Victorian literature where a character experiences a change in class status, or like social mobility, rags to riches, fallen women. Again, I changed my plan for this many a time. You can do Wuthering Heights. I'm saving that to reread next year. I was going to reread it this year, but I want to reread it next year. And I could have also done another book. There's quite a few other books which would match that. But the book that I bought because I wanted to read this anyway, and this is Desperate Remedies by Thomas Hardy. I know that who do I doing a book? There is one of our lovely other booktubers, Jen the Librarian, is reading Thomas Hardy's books from start to finish, and I know that this is one of the earlier books that actually got raved about, Desperate Remedies, and I wanted my own copy of it, so I kind of bought this a few months ago, in order to save it for Victober, and I hoped that it would fit one of the prompts. And Kate did tell me that it would fit a prompt, and it was trying to work out which prompt it would fit. So it does fit this prompt apparently really well. Apparently this is a bit of a sensation novel. I love sensation novels, you all know that. Sensation novels are totally my jam. Here is a rare specimen of the genre, replete with sudden death, dark mysteries and intriguing clues, fire and storm. Anyone who enjoys The Woman in White is likely to enjoy Desperate Remedies. Bloody love The Woman in White, so that was for me anyway. So that's all this tells me about this blooming book. The back of this one does not give anything away. It is one of the shorter ones. It's only 328 pages, so I'll read this alongside some of the shorter, alongside one of the longer books. Don't know which one yet. Need to organise it. Need to work it out. But this is a shorter book, so I will be reading this one of the weeks. I can't wait to read this one. This is probably one of the ones that I'm most excited about because I love Thomas Hardy. I love sensation novels. Anything that's compared to Desperate Remedies that compared to Women in White has me anyway, because I love the Women in White so bloody much. Really, really excited by this. Cannot wait for that one. Roz's challenge is Empire spotting. See how many times you spot signs of the Empire in the Victober reading. Now, apparently a lot of books can count for this. You don't have to have a specific book. But one of the books that was on my classics for... Again, I had another book that was on my classics for this, for October. And that was Felix, Holt by George Eliot. This was one of the ones that I said I was read this year, and I said I would read in October. And apparently there are references to the Empire in this. I've got 2 George Eliots. The fact is, I'm petrified because I've been a bit hit and miss with George Eliot. I wasn't a massive fan of Middlemarch, but I did love Silas Marner. This is bloody long. This is 636 pages. So this one will have to be read on a very short one, on the one of the weeks when I've got a very short book. So this one probably won't be read at the same time as Desperate Remedies. It's going to be read at the same time as another book that I've got planned. So, or I may read this at the same time as the short stories one, because I may try and read that alongside it. This is basically the problem with social continuity is that one exercised George Eliot greatly. Her concern for change at the time of the Second Reform Bill was about to be passed. Could come out a man's passion, feeling of desires, or feeling rather imposed by a sterile political edict that infuses the novel. By contrasting the life of 2 women, Miss Transome, who's unbending and bloodless, and a woman who embodies the worst elements of the past, and Hester, who fights for the free of her transbone connection in order to face the future with Felix, whose politics and attitudes embody a viral and creative future she achieves. I don't have a clue. I don't know too much. I do know that Kate liked this. I do know that this is, like I said, it's ridiculously long, but it's small. So I'm hoping the fact that it's long and small will mean I will still enjoy it. I am nervous. I'm really nervous, but I bought this years ago and I want to read it. And I hope I love it. Because it is long, so if I don't love it, I'll be crying. Next is Elizabeth's challenge, read a work by an underrated Victorian woman author. Now again, you could read Hester for that because Margaret Oliphant is an undefined one. But someone, my Amazon anonymous person, got me this, The Little Duke by Charlotte Mary Young. I know that Charlotte Mary Young is one of Kate Howe's favourite Victorian authors. I decided to research them on Amazon, and this was one I put on it because this was the one out of there as I chose. I know diddly about this book. All I know is it is 90 pages. So this one is going to be read at the same time as Felix Holt that week. That is all I know. And all I can see is at the back that Jane Austen, there's a bit about Jane Austen quote on it. I declare that after all there is no enjoyment like reading. How much sooner anyone tires of a thing more than book. When I have a house of my own, I should be miserable if I do not have an excellent library. I have my own little library. I do not know anything about this book, apart from the fact that it is by one of Kate's favourite authors. It does not give anything away at any point in my copy of this book, but it is short and sweet. It matches the prompt. I hope I love it. I love the fact it's short and sweet anyway. Right. Next one is Hannah's challenge, read a book that discusses education. Now, I did read Dr. Walter's School by Anthony Trollope that would fit. I read that last year, I think, or the year before. And lots of books fit education. I've read most of them. I think there's quite a few Dickens that would match this prompt. I think Nicholas Nickleby, I think the prompt. Obviously Great Expectations, there's like loads of books that would match that prompt. But one of the books that I wanted to read because I love it, I love Wilkie Collins. Apparently he was an idiot as a guy, but his books I absolutely love. And this is No Name by Wilkie Collins. And my copy again is 605 pages. I've got some real chunky ones. I've screwed myself up good and proper. So I am going to be literally blitzing these alongside my other books. We're not counting the fact that I've got 8 books on this and 12 books on my other TBR. I've got 20 books already planned for October. I'm screwed completely, especially seeing as I'm along. Don't expect me to see me in October. Do not expect. The fact is, in October I'm going out with Charlie one day. I've got a sister meeting with my sister another day. I've got my flu jab another day. I've got loads happening in October, but I think I'm going to be hiding away a lot when I'm not doing this because I will be wanting to read my Victober books. All I know is I bought this years ago. I love Wilkie Collins' books. This it investigates illegitimacy, the woman question. No Name is a Holt. It's like a novelist of suspense. For its family secret, the Vansown daughters, illegitimacy, the consequence disinheritance, the fall from grace is revealed early on, and Magdalena Vanstone struggles to reclaim her identity. So apparently this does match the prompt of Marissa's challenge, a work of Victorian literature where a character experiences a change in social status. So that could match that as well. Right, so actually, so if I basically struggle with Desperate Remedies, which I shouldn't, that would match that. And Magdalena Vanstone struggles to reclaim her identity. The plot uncovers many moral and social and legal skeletons in the cupboard of Victorian society. Oh my goodness, apparently Magdalena is Wilkie Collins' most exhilarating heroine. I can't wait for this. This is probably I just can't describe to you how much I'm looking forward to this book. It is mahoosive, but I cannot flipping wait. I love this book. Actually, the fact is, I don't think my plan of 2 books a week is going to work, because Buddy Reads is going to be read differently and the short stories could be read differently. So I think I'm going to be blagging this. I have no idea. Now to the next one. We're nearly at the end of my ones. But challenge number 7 is Jess's challenge. Step back in time, read a Victorian book set in a different era. I am going to go with Adam Bede by George Eliot. I tried to read this one Victober and I failed miserably. I didn't get on with it, so I'm going to try and read it in blitz. This one, although it looks big, it is actually 463 pages, so it's not actually as big as some of the other ones. So I don't know whether to read the bigger books first or the smaller ones first. I have no idea. I think I'll probably try and do I will try and do one big one on the first 2 weeks and one big one on the second 2 weeks, and then go that way. Adam Bede is George Eliot's first full-length novel, marked as an emergence of an artist to rank with Scott and Dickens. Set in the English Midlands of farmers and village craftsmen, it's at the turn of the 18th century. Yes, that's definitely done earlier. A book that relates a story of seduction ensuing inward suffering, of which the worst form of nemesis. I've got no idea. I have tried with this before and I didn't like it, so I'm hoping I like it this time. I need to give it a go, because if I don't like it this time, it's going off my shelves. Fingers crossed. I know Katie really loved this book, so I really, really hope I do. Now the next 2 challenges I can't meet, so I will still tell you them. First one is Melena's challenge: spin a colour wheel and pick a Victorian book with a cover of that primary features that colour. As you can see, all of my Victorian books are black and white, apart from Adam Bede. So I didn't think that would work. I'm not going to push myself too far, and I'm not good with colour wheels. But hey, hope everyone does well on that. Challenge number 9 is Roy's challenge: read a Victorian work of fantasy. I will be reading fantasy, but I cannot for the life of me find any Victorian fantasies, and I tend to struggle with them. So I'm not going to do that, although I may read I think I've got a historical fiction book that is fantasy set in, a historical fiction book that's fantasy set in Victorian times. So I'm going to go for that. That's going to be my way of doing that. So look at my TBR, which will be coming out next week. My October TBR, which is coming out next week, where I think I've got a Victorian book that's fantasy. You know what I mean? A historical fiction book that is fantasy set in the Victorian time. If that makes any sense, I'm sorry. I know what I mean. And then last challenge is Catherine's challenge: read a Victorian book that has a connection to Jane Austen. I wasn't sure about this. I was stressing. I read the non-fiction book about Jane Austen that was set would also fit that prompt. So, but I didn't read that. I read that again in Jane Austen in July. But when I watched Catherine's video, she said that Hester matches that. So the group book Hester by Margaret Oliphant matches that book. I wanted to read the group book because I do love group books. And if you get to the end of this, it is actually, again, not the longest. It's 456 pages. So I've got two that are 463. No, I've got two that are about 400 pages. No, yeah. Three that are about 400 odd pages, and two that are 600 pages. And then some shorter ones. So, yeah. I can do this. I've got two really long ones, two shorter ones, and two ones that are middle length. So I can do this. Well, let's see. Apparently, the aging Catherine Vernon, jilted in her youth, has risen to power in a man's world as head of the family bank. She thinks that she sees through everyone and rules over the family of dependents with knowing cynicism. But there are two people in Redborough who resist her. One is Hester, the young relation with a personality as strong as Catherine's and is determined to find a role for herself. The other is Edward, Catherine's favourite, who she treats like a son. Conflict between the young and the old is inevitable, and the depiction of complex relationships that also develops between the three principal characters. Hester is a mastermind of psychological realism. Sounds really good. Margaret's my first Margaret Oliphant. I probably want to read more Margaret Oliphant, but I do not know. I think I've got Margaret Oliphant. I've got a Margaret Oliphant that's second or third in a series. So I'm going to try and read that next year, possibly, if I get on with this author. I do not know if I'm going to. I'm trying to see if they've got any more Margaret Oliphant books on this. I don't know, because I'm useless at planning this. I don't think she's written any more on here. But I don't think there is any more Margaret Oliphant, so I'm just going to have a look. I'm going to give it a go. It's a group book. I don't do it reading the group book with everyone else because I don't look at it that way. But also this book starts on page number 5, which is a good thing. I won't read too much notes on the text, but I'm hoping, oh yeah, I think I've got Mrs. Marjoriebanks, or one of the other ones that are on my shelf. But I think that you have got to read that series in order, I'm not sure. Katie, tell me if that's got to be true. But let's give this one a go. That's a group, last one, it's a group book. Now, let's see. I think if you got to the end, right, let's do the chatty bit first. So, are you taking part in Victober? Have you got your books planned? How many of the books have you got to do? If you do a TBR, let me know. Please message me and let me know. I'm going to be looking for all the Victober TBRs because it's one of my it's for starters, it's one of my highest ranking videos. This is going to be one of my highest ranking videos every flipping year. It's a time of the year where I search for Victober TBRs. I look for Victober TBRs. I love watching Victober TBRs. I love anything to do with Victober. It's like an event I love. But let me know if you have a TBR because I will gladly watch it. I can't wait to watch everyone's TBRs. That's basically September's videos watching sorted. So I can't wait to watch you all. If you got to the end of this video, leave me a face emoji and leave me any face emoji. Smiley, because obviously there's faces in every single blooming book. So leave me a face emoji. Like, let's see if you can find, yeah, I think that's it. Any face emojis. Faces are on, like, literally, like, faces are on every single book. I think that just matches it. I know I'm dead boring, but if you got to that end of the video, leave me a face emoji. Whatever face you fancy, I don't mind. But if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed, ring on my ding-a-ling. I've been getting a lot of people that watch my videos and don't subscribe, but I love chatting to you all. I'm a bit of a crazy person, but I'm mad, but I'm me. Hope you all enjoy it. And I can't wait for Victober. Thank you all, guys. See you all soon. Bye-bye.